Welcome to the 80/20 podcast with Shervin Shares. Yeah, I want to start a podcast. I want to start talking about all the things that I love in terms of health and fitness technologies, sharing my story a little bit deeper and just allowing us to have, a deeper conversation, or maybe just a way of documenting my life a little bit better and having this out there. So this is called 80/20 because of the 80/20 principle. 20% of the effort that you put into something gets you 80% of the output. As someone who is very lazy, I'm very lazy, I tend to subscribe to this belief because if I can put in the least amount of work required and get the maximum output, minimum effective dose, I do that. And that's what we're doing with this podcast. Okay, who am I? So my name is Shervin Shares. I live in New York City. I'm a full-time creator, maybe a full-time YouTuber, whatever you want to call me. But I spend most of my time making videos, specifically for YouTube, and hoping to expand that further. So I just share my experiments, whether it's like trying, a supplement, trying a specific routine, trying a technology or gadget, trying a strategy, and then showing kind of the results before and after. Do I do the best job of it? Probably not. I could be more detail-oriented, but my goal is, 80/20. I'm trying to get as much as I can out there. That's what I do. That's who I am. Maybe a little bit more about backstory. Before YouTube, I was doing a lot of things. I went to school in Santa Barbara at UC Santa Barbara, which is the same undergraduate school as Dr. Andrew Huberman. It's just a school and he's just a human. I studied computer science there. So I did that because I always loved gadgets and technology. And my parents were like, you need to study something where you're going to get a good job after school. So the options were a doctor, lawyer, or engineer. And computer science kind of just slides into that engineer bucket, just barely. So I made the cut, and they're like, all right, fine. I wanted to study business. That was like my dream. That was my goal. I wanted to study business. I wanted to start a company. I wanted to get into I don't know. I think I wanted to wear a suit or something and go to work, but that was not it. I ended up studying computer science. I did that for 4 years-ish, a little bit longer because I studied abroad. I stayed an extra quarter, which is kind of like a mini semester, and studied abroad. Made some amazing friends, and then my diploma says I graduated a year later than I was supposed to, but I technically had finished everything except for one unit of art history that I did while I was abroad. So I was very strategic. And that was the first time that someone told me I couldn't do something. I was studying computer science, and I went and asked the counselor, I was like, hey, can I study abroad? This is something I really want to do. And the counselor said no. And I was taken aback. I was like, what? What? This is an experience that I'm asking and requesting. And they just said, it doesn't fall within your units and guidelines. There's no reason for you to go study abroad. You're a computer science, you're an engineer, you need to be here at this school. And I was like, that is not fair. She's like, I'm not going to sign this paperwork. I was distraught. But the person that I am is I do not take no for an answer. I think I'm very stubborn. I like to do it my way. I wanted to go. And I think that was one of the first times where I realized you can't take no for an answer. When you have a mission, when you have a desire, you got to figure it out. So I went to someone else and I was like, hey, I want to do this. And they're like, sure, I think I can sign this. So then they signed it. I don't want to say his name, but I remember it vividly. The first one was a woman. The second one was a male. And he was in the department, but he wasn't really supposed to do it. And he kind of just did it because he was just I don't know, sure. And because of that, that was the moment that truly studying abroad changed my life. Sounds like a YouTube title. But the people that I met, the relationships I built, and the mindsets that I created from being in such a different world drastically changed how I thought about the world. For example, I learned how to journal. I met someone who was very self-reflective, and they were like, you should journal. And they bought me a book journal, and I started writing and reflecting and thinking about things. And that has changed how I think about life. And it helped me solve a lot of problems that were inside my head. It helped me get a lot of things out on paper. And I got really into journaling. I don't do it as much, but I try to on a somewhat consistent basis. But I was doing it every single day. So that was a big tangent. I studied abroad, finished school. I then started my software engineering job. I was making way more than all my friends. I was, touted as the smart kid. And I think I just got lucky and they accidentally put an extra 0 next to my job offer. And it was really cool. I spent my sign-on bonus for a pilot's license instead of paying off my student loans. And I did that during lunch. During lunch, I would go to the airport because we lived so close. The office and the airport were adjacent. I'd go do pilot school and then I'd drive back and I'd finish the workday. Wow, I've lived a weird life. And that was really cool. I was like, I want to fly planes. Like, it's so much fun. It's exhilarating. It's really expensive. I think at that time I could afford it because I had a job that paid really well. And for some reason I could rationalize it that way. But, one day when I make enough money, hopefully I'll get back into it. But yeah, I did that. And then I did my software engineering job. And then after about a year, I was like, I like this, but I'm not in love with it. I was like, I did everything my parents told me to do. I went to school. I studied something that was like highly valued. I got the job that got a lot of money. Now what? No, I guess get married and have kids, buy a house. And I was like, I'm just doing what they're telling me to do. Is this really what I want to do with my life? Like, let's say they pass away. Like, am I going to be happy or am I just trying to make them happy? So that's when I realized I am very fortunate. I am extremely privileged. I grew up in the United States. I was born in the US and I have a lot of money in the bank because of this job. So why don't we take a risk? And I quit my job and I was like, I'm gonna take a year and just explore. I gave myself a year to do whatever I wanted. No requirements to get a job, no requirements to do anything. I think I had just worked 1 year and I was like, all right, we're just gonna take a year off, a year and a half maybe. I quit my job. I told my parents on the drive to the airport because I was going to travel the world and find myself just like every other millennial. And yeah, sorry, I'm not Gen Z if you're a Gen Z watching this. And I traveled. I went to like multiple different countries in a month. I did a whole bunch of fun things. And then I kind of like moved back in with my parents. So I was like, all right, I don't have a job. I'm just going to move back in. They can feed me. They have my bedroom here. I'm literally sitting at my parents' house right now. This is the couch that I probably grew up in from 7 and up. Who knows? Actually, they've probably replaced the couches. And you can tell this is a very immigrant style couch. It's covered with a sheet to protect the couch, because it's I think a lot of immigrants, we'll get into that later, but if you were raised by immigrant parents and you were born here, it's a very fascinating dichotomy of clash of cultures. Yeah, so I traveled the world. I did that for a bit and I moved back with my parents and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna like chill and hang out. I started just like watching YouTube. And that's when I decided I want to make YouTube videos. And I just was like watching a lot of YouTube videos and like, this is cool. Like, why can't I do that? These people look like they're having a ton of fun. I want to do that. I had an iPhone and I was like, I'll just use this to film and edit. So I shot on my iPhone, edited on my iPhone, published on my iPhone. And I did that while I was traveling, actually, because I kept traveling some more. And I was like, this is a ton of fun. I love doing this. For some reason, while I'm traveling, I'm going to edit in the hostel on my tiny iPhone and then try to upload on the slow Wi-Fi. And I just kept doing it. Every country I went to, I'd do a new video. And then I was like, oh, I want to buy a camera. And then I was like, oh, maybe I should start a video business. I just tried to experiment with a variety of business ideas. And I was like, I need to make money. Like, we're kind of ending near this year. So I opened up a swim school and I was teaching kids how to swim. I would do that myself. And then we hired some people. I was like co-owner with this other guy with a swim school business. And we hired like swim instructors. We teach them, we show them our philosophy, how to work with kids. And we became like a very prominent name in our city. Like there was the mom Facebook group and they would always be like, yo, these guys are the best. Like, and I loved it. It's so much fun working with kids and seeing them like progress from being scared of the water. Like this kid is coming and crying and yelling and screaming at you, doesn't know who you are. And then like within, I don't know, a couple weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 3 months, this kid's like swimming across the pool. And they were fearful at the beginning. Like seeing that, like I was able to teach someone how to do that is so rewarding. And I loved it. I was like, yeah, you don't make a lot of money. You kind of hourly maybe, but like it's not a software job. But it was very rewarding. And I was like, I really love doing this like in-person interaction. So I did that for some time and then I started teaching yoga for a bit, helped manage a yoga studio. And that kind of led me to San Francisco and Denver, and then back to a corporate job. And then I became a product manager back in tech, started doing some very similar things, a little bit of coding here and there again. And all this entire time I was making YouTube videos on and off for fun. I was testing, experimenting, just like making things that were interesting to me. And at the end of my product management career-ish, I was like, YouTube was doing better and better. I'd figured out my niche and I'd figured out who my audience was and I figured out what kind of content I wanted to create for who. And that's when it led to maybe I need to quit my job again. And I was scared. I don't think you understand. If you were raised by parents who believe that you have to be a doctor, lawyer, or engineer and have a secure job for the rest of your life, and you quit your job 2 years in the adult world, and now you went back and got a job again, and now you're like, I want to quit this job again, they're going to think they need to send you to a psych ward. So I was scared to tell my parents. As someone who's fearful to do these things, I just didn't tell them. So I quit my job, and I think I told them like a month later. I was like, hey guys, I'm retired. But I was not. And I didn't want to tell them that I was like, I made it in life. I'm retired. Tesla stock went up. Went all in on YouTube. I was like, we're making a little bit of money. I think I was making like $1,000 or $2,000 a month. And I was like, if I can get that to $5,000 or $10,000 a month, I will be fine. And yes, that was a lot of money, but I was like, I had moved to New York City. I quit my job, living in New York City. Rent is $2,500 a month. I'm probably spending at least $3,000 to $4,000 a month to just survive and live in New York. And I knew that like, all right, this is it. We're going all in. And that's when the YouTube journey began. And that was almost 2 years ago, which is crazy to think. And since then, it's been like hard work every single day to make this YouTube thing happen. And I love it. I really love it. It's so much fun. And I share that because there's a lot of people, like I've gotten DMs of people saying, hey, like I relate to this part of your story, that part of your story. And I was like, I haven't really shared much of my story. So when people say that, one, amazing, I love it. Two, it's like, all right, I guess I am sharing parts of my story, but how can I share more of it? Maybe someone's a software engineer. Maybe someone wanted to start a business. Maybe someone is a swimmer growing up like me, and they can like deeply connect and relate with that part of my story. So that's kind of why I share it. What about what's my mission with YouTube? Like, why am I making all these videos? I think it first started when I honestly just love gadgets. I love technology. I grew up like obsessing with technology, computers, camcorders. I loved filming stuff, like just like holding a camcorder. Like I remember I wrote a letter to my dad to get the newest computer. I wrote a letter to him to get the newest camcorder. Never got either of those, but I was just like so adamant. I was like, oh, like this is gonna change my life. Like I can do so many cool things. And I've just had a natural tendency and desire to just play with these things. And I was like, all right, I know I love technology. I know I love like video stuff. So can I merge the two? And that's when I was like, boom, YouTube. Like this is a place where I can film because I love filming. And this is a place where I can play with technology and put it on video. And then I realized that if I make videos, companies will send me free stuff. And I was like, wait a minute. If I'm going to play on camera, more companies are going to send me more toys. So I'll keep playing. So it's just kind of like, I love playing with stuff. I love opening a box and like being like, well, what can this gadget do? And I love good user experiences. So I was like, well, if I can actually provide value to people, and then I can get the opportunity to play. So that was kind of the main reasons I wanted to start YouTube. I think it's also turned more into like a mission-driven thing of like, I want to help inspire people. Like, yeah, this can sound like, oh my God, yeah, inspire people. I want to be able to inspire people to live a little healthier. I want to inspire people to like think about their life differently and maybe be more critical in terms of their thinking. Like come to conclusions on your own rather than just believing a headline you see, rather than just doing what this like person says you should be doing. Like think about the why behind it. So maybe just like inspiring more critical thinking. That's kind of the mission and the goal, is just to like elevate human existence and like our ability to think and be independent and bring new ideas to the table. Like if I can just do a little bit of that, I know it's a big, bold mission, but I want to do that. I moved to New York City in 2021. It's crazy to think that like that sounds like a long time ago, because that was like the pandemic was like slowly, it had peaked and it was like things were slowly starting to open back up. And I was like, this feels like the right time to move there because rent is cheap, and I feel like New York City is going to become back to what it used to be. And I'd always wanted to live in New York City. 5 years before that, I had visited a ton and like I just fell in love with it. And I was like, all right, now's the time, let's do it. So I just like jumped and I was like, let's do a 1 month experiment. I moved there, I booked like an Airbnb, and I was like, I love this. And I was like, let's do 6 months. So I did 6 months and I was like, all right, we're just hopping from house to house. Let's just book and lease a real place. So I booked a real place and I was like, I love this place. I love the energy, I love the chaos, and I love the serendipity. The ability to like walk down the street and meet someone random in a totally different industry, same industry, is so highly likely and probable that I felt like it was the best place to, one, make some of the best friends in the world, which I have, who are now my roommates, to meet a potential partner, we're still working on that, and to succeed the most in my business. Because like I can work with brands, I can meet with like other like events that go on around health, fitness, technologies, all happening in New York City or LA. And I felt like New York City was just better because I don't want to sit in a car for 2 hours every day. So yeah, that's why I moved to New York City. The serendipity, the ability to just get anywhere on the subway super fast is absolutely amazing. What's like my fitness background? So I think a lot of people say that I look relatively large when I see them. And maybe I don't see that. I've recently learned what body dysmorphia is. So I grew up a swimmer. I think I was like 4 years old when I started learning how to swim. I joined like a summer club team, swam for a while, and then I joined like a year-round club team. and things got serious around 8 years old. And I was like, all right, let's go. I was like one of the fastest swimmers on the summer club team. I got extremely fast for the environment that I was in there, and swimming became a big part of my life. I played soccer for also like 7 years, played basketball, baseball, like all the sports. But swimming ended up being the sport that I did until the end of high school. And something where I was like, I want to go to the Olympics. Like I had these dreams of being a professional athlete. But once you realize that sometimes you just don't have the genetics, it's just not possible. So I had to give those up. And I was like, hey, maybe I can channel that desire through the YouTube channel and live like a professional athlete for 6 months or something, or make my videos where I'm kind of like experimenting with professional athlete lifestyle strategies. But that's my fitness background. And I got into weightlifting around high school. I remember we had like track days, and we had dry land, like, lifting days ish, upper body days and lower body running days. And I told my coach that I didn't want to run. That's how much I disliked running. I didn't want to do the dry land workouts. So I was like, can I just go to the gym? I'll lift weights. And he's like, sure. I don't believe you're actually going to do it, but sure. So 4 times a week, 5 times a week before swimming practice, I would go to the LA Fitness, do my weightlifting routine. And I just want to get big. I think I had this dream and desire to look like Hercules and just have this like bodybuilder shape. I don't think I ever got there, but there's always been this desire since I was like in high school to be like that. And then once I finished high school and college, I stopped swimming. I kind of did on and off. I started lifting more just because like that was the culture, but didn't lift as much, left college. And then when I got into the working world, I started lifting a lot more. In the past year, I started getting into running. So it's kind of funny that like I grew up like really disliking running. I don't know why I disliked it, but now I've found this love for it. And it's really fun. There's a great community. Like it's the people, honestly. Running, when you're swimming, you can't really be social while you're swimming. Maybe like after practice or between sets. But when you're running, it's like you can hang out, you can be more social. And I kind of like that. Like being a part of a community is something I always missed since my swimming days in high school. Let's talk about my broken foot. So I broke my foot. Today's the 6th-week anniversary day. It's exactly 6 weeks. I broke it on Thursday around this time. It is Thursday, September 14th. My doctor told me I'd have to wear a boot for 4 to 6 weeks. Luckily, at the 4-week mark, he was like, you can take it off. But there was another doctor I saw, and he said you need to wear your boot for 6 weeks, and then you can slowly wean off it. Maybe it's 7 weeks. And I was like, and then I saw another doctor that you need to take off the boot yesterday. So it's really confusing. I learned a lot about being injured, and every doctor has a different opinion. But the biggest thing I learned is you need to take ownership of your body while being intelligent with what your doctors tell you. So it's not to disobey your doctor, but it's to be intelligent and understand maybe where they're coming from with their advice, 2, understanding your situation and where you need to be, and then gluing all of that together. And I think I had one really good doctor that kind of helped do that. He's like, this is the why behind things. These are the recommendations that I'm giving you based on your specific goals. And he's just been really thoughtful in terms of like, your goal is to run, and you want to run a marathon, and your foot's broken. So it's not about healing the foot, it's about maintaining your fitness while healing your foot, and then getting back into running without like getting re-injured. And wearing a boot can actually increase your risk for injury much higher than not wearing the boot. So there's a lot of reasons, especially for people who want to run or do things, like there is a chance where wearing the boot for too long can actually be really bad for you. I've been trying to be very intelligent and following a systematic approach of like, how can I strengthen my foot, maintain flexibility, and do all the things that I need to do while still allowing it to recover. It's been a very interesting journey. Watching a ton of YouTube videos. I'm no doctor, but just seeing such varying perspectives from so many doctors, even just like the doctors who post on YouTube, has been truly interesting. Getting good sleep, eating right, and resting, like the basics are just so important. And just like, it just reiterated to me how important it is. Like those are the basics of health. Like everything else is sprinkles on top, cherry on top. But if you can't get the basics right, nothing else matters. That's another thing with the YouTube channel. I want to be able to like remind people basics. Like I think people are trying to cut corners. Like, hey, if I take this supplement, maybe I can cheat on my sleep. If I take this supplement, maybe I can drink alcohol tonight and still be fine tomorrow. It doesn't work like that. As much as like I want it to, there's just no cheat codes. I think that's it for today. I think I shared enough about myself, my life, and the mission of my YouTube channel. I have big goals. I think I've struggled with confidence at times, but in recent times, I've become more confident in realizing that I have the ability to do things. and just seeing what I've created has surprised me a little bit. I didn't think it was possible, to be honest with you. And it like shows me that I am capable of doing things, and I've inspired myself that I can keep going. It's a weird thing to say because I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I'll be successful at this. But so far it's working. And sometimes like you doubt yourself so many times. It's like I'm literally starting a company, a media company, and it's scary. It's hard. And only other people who are doing the same thing can kind of understand. So it's so helpful that, have friends and surround yourself with people who are trying to chase the same goal, build similar types of businesses is so valuable. And that's why I'm extremely fortunate to live with like two of the most amazing people, my roommates, Colt and Tejas. We like to call ourselves a content closet. I think my next podcast is going to be with them. I'll bring them on. We'll do a little like Q&A chat. So if you have any questions you want me to ask them, let me know in the comments. I'm going to try to do this like once a month and then maybe increase the cadence as I figure it out. But surround yourself with amazing people. Like I really, truly, truly love them. And like, they're just like so supportive. We're so supportive of each other. It's such a great environment to be in. I hope you enjoyed this 80/20 podcast with Shervin Shares. Subscribe. I don't know how podcasts work. So whatever it is, leave a 5-star review on Yelp. This will be on YouTube. If you're not watching on YouTube, go to my YouTube channel. /@Shervin Shares on Instagram, Twitter, Strava, everywhere. Come find me, come hang out, say hello, let's be friends, and hopefully one day we can ice bath and sauna together. Until next time, we'll see you in the next podcast. Peace. All right, peace. We're out of here.